everybody, welcome back to Success Mode Podcast. I'm so excited to be back on the air. This time around, I have some friends that are sharing their journey of success with us. Today, I have author Aaron Allen with us. He's an author and an actor. Aaron, how are you? What's going on?
I'm doing good. I'm doing good today.
Good. Tell us the title of your book.
Yeah, so my first book is titled My Mind: The Journey Through Love and the Rest.
Oh wow, okay.
Um it's a fairly long title. But like I said, I always tell people it's a brown book. If you look for My Mind, Aaron Allen, you'll find it. That's on any platform. So yeah, that's the best way to find it. But
and then you have two books, right?
Well, I have three or four, two or three.
Oh wow! You know what? Okay, so you're surprising me. I didn't realize that.
Yeah, that's fine. I don't really talk about them as much because there's quite a few. I self-published after My Mind: The Journey Through Love and the Rest. But if you look up Aaron Allen, you'll see my books and stuff on Amazon and Barnes and Noble. So
okay, awesome.
You'll see the books that I published on there as well.
Okay, and tell us what you generally write about, because I know you said some of them are, or one of them at least, is like a self-biography, sort of, kind of.
Yeah, the majority of my books are collections of poetry.
Okay.
I like writing poetry. So they're collections of poetry, like Milk and Honey. I don't know if you know about Milk and Honey. That's a collection of poetry that's pretty popular.
Okay.
And there's what is it? My friend, he had a trip to California and it was very adventurous. So we wrote a book called Potentially Everlasting, which was a story about his trip. That's available too.
Okay.
So that's more of just like a memoir of his trip, but I wrote it. He told me the story and I wrote it.
Oh, that's cool.
So yeah, potentially everlasting. So that's a couple of books that are available, in different types. So memoirs and collections of poetry I have already published.
Okay, that's awesome. That's awesome. Now tell us, Aaron, you're an actor as well. How did you get started in acting?
Well, yeah, I mean, I've been acting since 9 years old. I did some extra work when I was a kid. And then after that, I enjoy acting, but I just didn't really pursue it until really 2017, that I got back into it and did the 2 indie films. So yeah, I just got back into it because, I realized I enjoyed it again, I got a couple of role offers, as far as indie film is, concerned. So that's the main thing is that, I wanted to get back into it, and I did,
So which one would you say is more of your passion? Is writing your passion or is acting? If you had to choose one, could you choose?
Well, definitely writing. I think in the long run, I think I'll do more writing than acting. And I've made that decision. I mean, not saying I won't do acting more, but I will do more book writing than film. As far as production and creativity. So I'll definitely always do acting, but I think writing is more my passion. I live out with, you know what I mean?
Yeah. And as I was telling you before, even when I wrote my first book back in 2012, it seems like writing is just like an outlet. It's like a therapeutic type of thing. And you could just really get lost in it and express yourself with it,
Yeah, and that's one of the greatest things. Like when I was like when I decided to do this journey, like 2013, 2014, become a published author,
mm-hmm.
that was my main thing is like, I want to tell the world things, you know what I mean? And I want to
Exactly.
be able, to have an outlet,
Right.
So that was the nice thing is that, I mean, it helps authors, it helps writers, it helps people in general,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and that's something, that's great about being an author, that you're
Yeah.
able to release that through your writing.
Yeah, and you know what? I've told people you never know like how your writing or your book affects other people. You could really have an impact on someone's life and you wouldn't even know it, but it's really powerful when we express our gifts like that, you know?
And it definitely motivates other people to do
True.
things. And I have favorite authors, when I read their stuff, I learn,
Right.
Lemony
Yes.
Snicket is one of my favorite people. And it's like, when I read his books, it's like, man, I'm actually learning something, because
Right.
he,
Yeah.
he gives us a lot of literary terminology. So you learn and then you learn about things in life. So yeah,
Exactly.
it's a great thing to do, even to pass on knowledge. Yeah.
Exactly. Now, I see you have something coming up where you're going to be a panelist on Voyage ATL, or I'm not sure exactly what it's about, but could you tell us about that?
Yeah, well, we are. So on the 23rd, we're gonna record a panel on film and filmmaking.
Mm-hmm.
And then in April, Voyage ATL will be releasing the panel talk with me and like two other creatives,
Oh,
and then the
wow.
moderator. So yeah, they'll be releasing that in April. I have to record with them
Mhm.
the 23rd of March. But yeah, that should be something
Okay.
interesting,
Yeah,
for
that
people
sounds
to do.
intriguing. Okay, well, I'm looking forward to that to see what you're gonna do on there. That's cool. Now, Aaron, let me ask you, for anybody else out there that's interested in writing, because as an author myself, I meet so many people that they say, "Oh, I want to write a book," or "Could you help me write a book?" or "I started writing, but I only got like a few pages or a few paragraphs down," and they just feel kind of lost. For someone who is really desiring to write a book, what advice do you give them?
Well, there's two things I always tell people is that one, you got to have a full outline,
Mm-hmm.
because that helps you write longer and better. Like my dad said, like if you're typing, you always can edit better than writing stuff down. So if there's a problem
Okay.
that you don't like what you're writing, you can always change it in your outline. But
Okay.
so yeah, so then when you go back and you're writing, you're actually writing the script out, or the manuscript out, the story out.
Mm-hmm.
You really won't get writer's block because you would have already written out the story, which you have to do
Oh,
anyway.
that's smart. That's very
Yeah, so
smart.
you are. It's your roadmap, like they say,
Right.
it's your roadmap.
Exactly.
And so you know where
Mm-hmm.
you're going in your story. Like, oh, I forgot what character.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's right there in an
Just
outline. You can
refer
always
back.
change your outline.
Right.
So, and then another thing is just write.
Mm-hmm.
Write it out. That's another way of writing the outline.
Mm-hmm.
Write it to where it's like, I want to write everything that's on my mind as far as possible,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'll try to clean it up later. Because again, you have to
Okay.
do that anyway.
Right.
So I would just continue to write on the idea, even notes somewhere. You get a
Exactly.
character's name, just write it down. Try to keep all those notes with one story together,
Mm-hmm.
but definitely write as much as you think,
Mm-hmm.
And like
Mm-hmm.
I said, the outline is the best way to do a whole story idea.
Right.
Um,
Those are some good ideas.
yeah, so
Yeah,
that's what
because
I would say.
yeah, I usually tell people just to have like a recorder or just a notepad and just scribble down anything that comes to your mind. Because I know me, I'm very forgetful. So, like, if I just write down everything and then, like you said, just go back, refer to it back, and clean it up afterwards, after the fact, hey, you already got your ideas down. So you're good, you know?
Yeah, Yeah, that's definitely how you do it. You can get a recorder. That's another thing people tell you is get a recorder and listen, record stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So that's good advice too. Is just make sure you're getting all your information. Yeah, because I could be forgetful too, and it's just like as soon as I think of something, I type it in my phone, say it somewhere, write it down.
Right.
Especially if it's something that I want to keep for one of my projects that I know, is gold, is worth something. So
Exactly.
definitely.
Exactly. And I don't know if you like me, Aaron. It seemed like once I start writing or once I have an idea about something, I just start getting a whole bunch of ideas into my head, and I just need to like get them down really fast, or else I lose them.
Yeah, I mean, another thing is you have to manage your thoughts because
Right.
your thoughts will overwhelm you. Like I'll think of a
Mm-hmm.
lot of ideas, but I mean, if it's separate ideas, write them down, separate them maybe on a piece of paper. You might
Mm-hmm.
want to separate them later, but
Yeah.
you also have to like make sure it's not ideas that you really don't want to keep. Like
Right.
as far as like some random stories, like do I really want to pursue that idea?
Mm-hmm.
Because you creatives get ideas all the time.
Mm-hmm.
So, writers get ideas all the time. So it's like you'll get a lot of ideas, but some of them I just feel like they can just fall by the wayside. But, a
Right.
writer has to decide that, you know.
Exactly. Exactly. So let me ask you, Aaron, before we go, what are some of your plans for the immediate future? Do you have any, goals in mind?
Yeah, well, my first thing is I want to, I'm working on a novel. I'm writing a novel.
Oh, okay.
I want to get that published. I'm working on that. Um, Another one is I have a film script that I wrote.
Mm-hmm.
We've been talking about it, but one of these days, probably this year, next year, we'll start producing that film.
Okay.
But those are the two main things that I'm really working on now for the future is a novel and then a script that I wrote really last year or something like that we're working on production for as well.
Okay. That
So
sounds cool.
yeah, so that's two things, yeah.
And I forgot to ask you, what are the two movies that you're already in, that you're acting in, that you acted in before?
Yeah, so let me see, like we still have a Mill with a Key coming. We're looking
Okay.
for that to be on a platform.
Mm-hmm.
Manny's been talking to some people, so that's still coming.
Okay.
Um, and then there's Girl of the Sea,
Mm-hmm.
which Diamond Apache, she wrote and shot that I'll be co-starring in. And
Okay.
she's
Okay.
working on releasing that, sooner than later. So
All
we'll
right.
all be looking for, both of those films releasing soon.
All right.
So yeah, that's the
Well, I'll
name
be
of it.
looking for it too. I'll be looking for, because I know I've seen clips of you acting in it, and I was like, okay, Aaron doing his thing. He's
Yeah,
acting. I thought he was just a writer, but he doing his thing.
I
Okay, so
appreciate
that's
it.
cool. So what? Before we go, what advice or do you have anything to say to anyone on their success journey?
Well, I think that the main thing is keep going. Don't stop.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I know it sounds corny and typical, but I like there were so many times I wanted to just go back to work, you know what I mean, and just work
Mm-hmm.
and just forget about my creative journey. But it's like the passion is always going to be there, and you
Right.
always have to pursue it, no matter how old or how less popular and in trouble you get. You always gotta go for it and
That's
continue
true.
until you just can't anymore.
Right.
So so that's what I would say is never give up,
Never
and
give up.
actually apply to never give up.
That's
Yeah.
awesome. Well, thank you so much, Aaron, for spending this time with me, talking to me about your journey of success and your writing, your passion. We really appreciate you sharing your time with me. Everybody else, if you're watching this and you got something out of it, or if you enjoyed it, please like, subscribe, and share, and then come back and spend some more time with me on Success Mode. Thanks so much, Aaron. I look forward to seeing you soon. We appreciate you sharing your time with us.
Yeah, thank you. Be
All
back.
right.
Yeah.
Peace.